Oh my God, Billy, it's terrible.
What, Karen?
If there's inflation, it's terrible.
Well, what about the recession? Are we in a recession, or one's coming, or we went through it?
Well, I think we're in all of the above, and oh my God, the interest rates are off the charts.
Oh, you can't even afford anything. And what about foreclosures?
Oh yeah, Billy, it's all
doom and
downhill. It's
gloom,
doom and
right?
gloom.
Oh my
God,
gosh.
the sky is really falling.
Oh.
Not.
That's kind of what it's like when you listen to the news, right? Doom and gloom. Well, I don't know. I tend to stay away from people that are too doom and gloom. And I'm not saying if those things were really happening, we shouldn't acknowledge, prepare, be aware, but that's not really where we're at. I mean, yeah, interest rates are maybe a little higher than they were. Definitely not in a housing bubble.
And we are experiencing inflation. It is
Yeah.
actually cooling now, which is great.
Yeah.
So there are actually positives out there.
Yeah, totally. And we're going to talk about that with you today, specific to the Flagstaff housing market, how you can make it work for you if you have a good team, a great lender, and a good realtor working on your behalf, and what that looks like. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm Karen Flores. I'm your Flagstaff mortgage lender.
And I'm Billy McGraw, your Flagstaff realtor.
And Billy, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I think one of the biggest things that people want to know now is it better to buy at this point, or should we wait?
Well, I think if you're living in Flagstaff and you're renting, you should definitely buy now. Unless you're planning to move in the next 6 months or 2 years, I would say. So anything under 2 years, buy now. And here's why. Because, I mean, even though it's like we're just winging it, we actually prepared for you. We took some scenarios. If you were an actual buyer right now in this market, let's say average price point $550, and you wanted to buy right now, we put some numbers together so we could show you what that looks like and determine if it really is a good time to buy right now. So Karen really is the expert here with the finances. So tell us about this chart, Karen. $550 offer, you're a buyer.
Yeah. So just most people come in with about 5% down.
Okay.
And
That's amazing. You don't need 20% down?
No, you don't.
Okay.
So if you can come up with 5% down, which we'll talk about in a little bit, what some of those sources can be.
Okay.
But average interest rate right now is about 6.375. So you're looking at a payment of about $3,260. So Billy, how does that compare to what people are paying for rent right now?
Well, I talked with our local property manager, and so a house about 550 values probably a 3 or 4 bedroom house. It probably ranges 1,500 to 1,800 square feet, and the average rent price is about $3,000. Could be a little more if it's even upgraded. So if you spend $3,000 a month in rent over the course of a year, that would be $36,000 where you're paying somebody else's mortgage. I mean, that is a lot of money. That is a good reason to maybe think about buying in this market. So what if $3,260 a month is a little more than I can afford? Do we have other options?
Absolutely, we have other options.
Okay.
So if we look at the next screen, this is a situation where we have a reduced purchase price. Billy, how do we get a reduced purchase price?
Well, if you had a 550 house and we negotiated some off the price, $16,500, so just a little bit off the price because the market's not too crazy negotiable, but there is some negotiating ability. You then would pay $533,500 for your house with your same 5% down payment at the same interest rate, and your monthly payment would be a little lower, saving you $98. But this is where the good realtor negotiations come in. I suggest we don't negotiate this off the purchase price to only save you $98. I think we put it toward the closing costs. How does that work, Karen? What if I can get the seller to pay for some of the buyer's closing cost and I get $16,500 paid for? What would you do with that?
Well, what I would do is I would suggest that you actually buy the interest rate down permanently to 5.75%. So $16,500 is about what it would cost on this scenario to get your rate to 5.75. And then look what that does to your payment. It saves you $211 a month. That's huge.
And now you're kind of comparable with a Flagstaff rent payment.
Absolutely.
Except nobody's going to sell your house out from under you. And the rate is not going to increase because your mortgage payment is your mortgage payment is your mortgage payment, right?
It's fixed. So if we do a 30-year loan, it's fixed for the next 30 years and you're not going to have that increase. It's going to stay the same, which your rent over the next 30 years, I guarantee you, is going to go up substantially.
Oh yeah, wait till we show you how houses appreciate. That's an exciting one we've got for you too. What if, by some chance, later down the road, interest rates got into the 4s or the really low 5s? Could you refinance later if you want to? Okay.
Absolutely. There's definitely the option down the road to refinance into the lower interest rates, and then you're going to get your payment down even further and be in a much better position.
Yeah. But the good news about this is you already know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And so you're getting yourself a competitive interest rate now, and we're in a market where you have the negotiating power as a buyer. 2 years ago you didn't have that, and I think they talk about interest rates going down. If that happens, normally what happens when interest rates go down, guess what?
People want to buy houses, and the amount of people trying to buy the same house increases, and so you're going to be in a competitive market where you have to pay over asking price if you want to get the house.
Yeah.
And we're
costing you more money.
Cost you more money, or you may not even have the extra cash to come in, and this is where you can actually negotiate with the seller to help you out.
It's a sweet spot for the buyer.
It is. And we are actually getting into the buying season here. As spring and summer happens, we are going to see more competitive situations to where it may not be where you can get into the house, negotiate closing costs, or even get that offer.
Yeah,
so,
with 5% down or something
right.
like that. Yeah, we kind of saw that in the frenzy, right? If you
Yes.
didn't have lots of cash, tons of money down, you didn't even get to play the game. And so this is a sweet spot for you if you're a buyer. If you're renting, you should definitely be calling us to see if we could make your dream a reality. And even if you have been a homeowner before, I mean, there's still lots of, like, is it too early to talk about down payments? Or?
Not at all.
Okay, how do you even come up with a down payment? You could have saved a bunch of money, but what if you didn't? What else could you do to get into a house?
Well, there's a lot of different options. We do have down payment assistance programs. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer to qualify for them. So there's a big misconception out there about that.
Nice.
The other thing is you can borrow from a 401k. You can borrow from family members. We call that a gift. And you can sell something. Maybe you have a car that is worth a little bit of money. You can sell it. I even had a client.
Did you tell me you had a cow sold?
Yeah, they sold their cow. And I was here in Flagstaff. They sold their cow and they came up with their down payment.
Whatever you gotta do.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't even know on some of our loan programs, your employer can actually help out with your down payment and closing costs.
Oh yeah, I think the city of Flagstaff has some of those options.
The city of Flagstaff does. Yeah. Or even if you just work for your employer, it doesn't have to be a big company. If they are willing to help you out because they want to keep you here in Flagstaff and help you out with a home,
that's a good point.
Absolutely, they can help you out with those things. So there's so many. Don't ever let the concern of down payment keep you from wanting to pursue home ownership. It's definitely a lot of options out there.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. So glad you're sharing some of these myths with us.
I know.
So some other benefits of buying are you have tax advantages. Talk to your CPA. There's less competition right now. So if you're a buyer, you have some buying power, more negotiation power, and that's usually with your good old realtor. And you're building financial wealth. I was just listening to this financial expert talk about the top 50% of people that are financially wealthy in the whole world have the value of about $500,000, which is typically found in the equity of their home. So you could, be moving toward a more wealthy financial position. Pride of ownership. I mean, paint your walls whatever color you want. Hooray! That's so exciting. And there's really something to be said about the American dream. I mean, you work hard, you figure it out, and you buy a home, and that's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
And it creates a lot of opportunity for you in the future. Having home ownership means there are a lot of possibilities for you in the future. So as you gain equity in your home, you can use that equity to borrow against it. Maybe you want to buy another house. Maybe you need to help put a kid through college. There's so much flexibility when you own a home. Obviously, if you're renting, you can't take money out of the equity of that place
that
because
you gave the landlord.
that you gave a landlord.
Yeah.
It's theirs, and they're taking that equity and investing it. So there's so many things that home ownership provides you besides all of these things that we've just shared.
Yeah. The stronger financial position you're in, the more choice you have in the future. So that's exciting.
Yes.
Oh, this is great. I mean, Karen, what do you want to talk about this?
Absolutely. So as we were just talking about, you gain equity in your home. So that means as you're paying down on your mortgage, as property values increase, over time, you are going to gain appreciation. And that means, yes, you appreciate your house, but you are also getting monetary value out of it.
Right.
So whether you're going to sell or borrow against it, look at how when you started at your 550, and then after a year you've already gained 25,000 of equity, and then so on and so forth. After 5 years, you've increased up to almost a $700,000 position within that home of appreciation. So again, if you went to sell it or you went to refinance and take some cash out, you've got all that extra equity in there to do something with.
Yeah, 139,000. I mean, where else can you put your money and have that kind of increase?
You can't.
Not the stock market,
No,
not the
stock market.
cryptocurrency, not the jars under your front porch, but yes, in your house.
Yes, and definitely not the savings account at your bank.
Yeah.
I mean, you're never going to see things like this.
Yeah, it's kind of that power of compounded interest, right? Matei and I are always talking about that, and just how much you can build wealth. And even my CPA talks about that, right? I mean, that's like a magical thing, and you have the opportunity through homeownership to do that.
Yes. I think ultimately, Billy, whether someone can buy now or needs to wait, that's something that's an individual thing. And I think
Sure.
that's where having a realtor and a mortgage professional in your court that can meet with you and talk to you about all those things to figure out, hey, what is the best solution for me? Is it now? Can I afford to do it now? And what are the options that I have available to me?
Yeah, or even if I can't now, how do I get in position to do it later, right?
Absolutely.
So either way, there's no doubt being a homeowner is the way to go, and whether it's now or later, we'll figure that out together. So just give us a call, reach out, let's talk about your individual situation and help you realize your dreams. This guy is